All hail the Clicks crew! Alright guys, today we're covering some big changes in the game of Heroclix. Earlier this week it was announced by WizKids that we will be getting a new Heroclix rulebook and powers and abilities card with the Wonder Woman 80th anniversary set. I believe it comes out in April. So they are going to be, over the course of this week, as of the filming and uploading of this video, going to be giving us different things each day, I believe, on what those changes are. So this one's actually from a couple days ago. This is the Indomitable Knot, and this is part of a two-part, a dual upload today. I'm doing a dual upload to get all caught up on these because it's that important. So before we get into this, I want to take the time to let you know that Mr. Clicksflix is sponsored by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if you're in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has the winning role for our gaming needs. You can visit them at luckydicecafé.com or on their Facebook page using the link found in the description of this video. Mr. Clicksflix is also sponsored by trollandtoad.com, one of the largest online gaming retailers. Visit trollandtoad.com and use the promo code Mr. Clicksflix for 5% off your Heroclix order today. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get into the first article from this. So we're going to go ahead and hop on over. This can be found, if you want to read the article for yourself, at wizkids.com/Heroclix, and then you go to the press room and it comes right up. Or it's also on the Mr. Clicksflix Facebook group if you're part of that. Make sure to stop on over. I always share these articles, this kind of article when they come up, so that you guys can be abreast to any new changes for Heroclix. So I'm just going to read this to you, and then we're going to talk about it briefly, and then I'm going to have a special guest on after all the rules articles have been posted. So stay tuned for that because you guys are going to be pretty excited. So Heroclix 2021 Rules Article 1, the Indomitable Knot. If you ask 100 Heroclix players what their favorite part of Heroclix is, we suspect you get at least 50 different answers. Some love superhero combat, others love their favorite teams or from comic books. Many people love collecting the pre-painted miniatures, and others have an entrenched love of the gameplay. There's a lot of love within the gameplay, team construction, the combat dial, the standard powers. However, there's something that we knew wasn't as beloved. It's the term for, and it's time for it to go, pushing damage. So they are, we'll talk about all this at the end. I'm just going to read you the article first. As part of the changes we wanted to make to Heroclix with the 2021 rules update, it was obvious that the mechanic of Heroclix are an interwoven web. Adjusting one rule naturally impacts others. One of these changes the team felt most strongly about was removing pushing damage. Since pushing damage has always been part of Heroclix, we wanted to discuss in detail not just why we wanted to remove it from the game, but also the ripple of changes that we decided to implement as a result. So we're going to go ahead and scroll up a little, trying to make sure that what I'm reading you guys can see. Why we pushed out pushing damage. The original purpose of pushing damage was to implement a cost to acting frequently with your character. It meant that there were basically two costs in original Heroclix: the pre-game point cost to include a character on your force, and mid-game clicks of damage to act consistently with them. Even though pushing damage is a cost, there are benefits to the game that it exists. There's a skill test to know when to push and when to pass. We're able to design figures that motivate you to deal them pushing damage in order to get to clicks that's better than the click they're on, often called activation clicks. Being able to push as a way to switch from one set of powers to another. Characters, perhaps most rarely, it gives players a way to KO their own character to trigger benefits. Originally, let's scroll down here so that you can see. Originally, acting consistently with your biggest threat that you had advantageously positioned was seen as a huge benefit. We've come to feel the benefits of pushing damage weren't worth the trade-off. The basic strategy decision to push your character just doesn't feel good. Worse still, if you push and miss with an attack, or push and fail a breakaway roll, you feel like you're digging your own grave. Never mind. We're not even going to mention pushing and rolling a crit miss. The deeper strategic decision to push your character in order to shift to a new power set vastly widens the gap between rookies and veterans. Even when rookies have learned this is sometimes a powerful tool, they're more likely to use the tactic incorrectly or forget it. Willpower, occupying a defensive slot, meant the character couldn't have both a damage reducer and the ability to avoid pushing damage. This eventually caused the invention of Indomitable and the striped shield, foreshadowing the need to prevent pushing damage. Pushing damage is a second drawback in the same dimension as action tokens. The result of taking a second consecutive action with a character wasn't just pushing damage, it was also being forced to pass with that character on your following turn, and that isn't fun either. Sometimes many things happen between the decision to take a push damage and actually taking the damage that make it easy to overlook. It isn't unheard of for a character to take an action where they do two things like charge, pick up an object along the way, and resolve a few die rolls. By the time a player should be taking a click of damage, it might be easy to forget. Flash forward to today, many figures that play a role that makes you want to take actions with them every turn have Indomitable Power, Cosmic Quintessence, Cosmic Energy, or Willpower. Other characters are designed to operate with free actions like Sidestep and the Utility Suite, Outwit, Perplex, Probability Control. I like that they said Utility Suite. Of the characters that see competitive play, the overwhelming majority of them have some way to avoid pushing damage. Figures without this capability are immediately evaluated as less than. If new players were going to learn a tactic, we'd rather it be about utilizing the standard powers to their maximum effect instead of subverting an infrequent drawback. Also, for all the design opportunities that pushing damage might present, it also balances itself with design obstacles. For example, it's challenging to design effects that have meaningful benefits to your character taking damage or not getting KO'd, when it's very easy for you to activate those effects yourself instead of using them as a catch-up mechanism as your opponent damages you. After careful consideration, we knew that one of these changes we would make on the next rules update would be to remove pushing damage. What else was tied into this? Willpower, Indomitable, Colossal Stamina, and team abilities that reference these. Internally, we called the process of adjusting these game effects the Indomitable Knot. Alright, Willpower. If there wasn't pushing damage, it meant that Willpower wouldn't do anything as a standard power. This was the first thing we wanted to focus on when it came to the ripple effects of removing pushing damage. The sentiment of Willpower was that your character got to act more frequently than characters without Willpower. The closest power to this on the PAC is Leadership, so we designed the new Willpower to feel familiar. Willpower 2021. At the beginning of your turn, you may roll a d6. 5 through 6, remove an action token from this character. We like that this automatic has variance. We also like the timing. If a character with Willpower is KO'd, there isn't usually a situation where they wasted time rolling to remove an action token that was meaningless. Indomitable. Before we share the solution we settled on, we wanted to share 3 ideas, 2 that we didn't select and 1 that we did, leaving it as a combat symbol that granted Willpower. Since new Willpower causes each character to roll a die, we didn't want a team of Indomitable characters to roll 5+ dice at the start of every turn. Putting a cap on Willpower so it could continue to be tied to Indomitable isn't elegant. We also didn't want to create feel bad moments where players would forget to use it. Okay. Making it function identical to Colossal Stamina. Colossal Stamina is too close to pushing damage for us to believe it's right to remove push damage, then apply Colossal Stamina to all existing characters that have Indomitable. This realization caused us to consider changing Colossal Stamina, which we might have otherwise left untouched in the 2021 rules update. Retiring the term Indomitable and making striped shields the standard defensive symbol. Existing characters in players' collections would be able to play all the same as new characters. That's a huge benefit. We were able to eliminate a rule and its exceptions. Overall, the tempo of characters taking actions would have fewer tiers than us making Indomitable do something totally new. Noticeably, characters that have willpower on their defensive slot will be getting a boost relative to characters that simply had Indomitable, giving the opportunity cost of having willpower instead of a damage reducer or evasion ability. We're okay with this. Okay, so again, we'll save this for the. I keep wanting to explain, and then I'm like, no, we're waiting for this. Okay, Colossal Stamina. As said above, we strongly didn't want to move the negatives of pushing damage into a new game effect. Colossal Stamina was a valuable benefit to Colossal figures, so we didn't want to just trim it away like we did with Indomitable. Our design goals were allow Colossals and perhaps Giant figures to act more frequently than standard sized characters, avoid the negatives of pushing damage, ensure larger figures are still fun and compelling for players to utilize. When we realized that the benefits of larger figures, Colossal and Giants, could be the same if it was a nice chance to streamline how those category of figures play. Colossal would still be sufficiently different from Giants by having flavor to make them feel bigger, whether it was their improved Giant reach or their ability to carry Giants. This meant Colossal figures could be retired as a key phrase, and its sentiment would live on with great size key phrase. Here's where we landed on great size, new portion italicized. Okay, so the part that's italicized is what's different. Great size 2021, improved movement, improved targeting. Lines of fire drawn to this character are not blocked by elevated terrain or outdoor blocking terrain, and are hindered only if the line of fire is drawn to a square of hindered terrain that's including the target. This character can use willpower and succeeds on a roll of 3 through 6 protected pulse wave. That's a lot. They get these benefits: improved movement on targeting just like before, ease of targeting and being targeted just like before, super effective willpower to fill the void left by Colossal Stamina, protected pulse wave. This prevents wonky rule situations. Some Colossal or Giant figures right now that don't have Indomitable will be getting a boost. While this might cause slight rebalancing, we're not concerned with any of these figures will become broken as a result. Team abilities. A few team abilities will grant willpower or Colossal Stamina. The ones that gave willpower will continue to do so. The Masters of Evil team ability gave Colossal Stamina, so we didn't want it to live on as is. Given those characters' great size didn't make sense and complicated them, Masters of Evil ended up with Colossal Stamina as their TA because their previous TA was so close to Colossal Stamina that we couldn't justify it not being Colossal Stamina. Masters of Evil ability isn't very widespread, so we gave them a new team ability that's a little different. Masters of Evil 2021. When an adjacent friendly character makes a close attack, modify the target's defense -1 if the target is adjacent to this character. One of the benefits here is the Masters of Evil characters will get to serve as a utility role for their teammates even when they're tokened up, even if they're normally just a bruiser from a dial design perspective. You know, this may seem like a big set of changes to some players, but we hope you'll come to feel, as we do, that they're not that big and will help improve the health of Heroclix until next time Masterminds keep clicking. And then, we're just at the bottom of the page. So, bullet points, and then we'll discuss. So, no more pushing damage ever. There's no more pushing damage. Then there's willpower. Now makes it so that you take a d6 roll at the beginning of your turn, 5 or 6, remove a token from yourself. Indomitable is no longer a thing. The shield with the slash through it is simply the standard defensive symbol now. So it no longer grants willpower. And then giant sized now makes it so that basically the improved targeting and stuff is all the same, and it also grants willpower, but successful on a 4 through 6. So there's that. Those are the changes that have occurred with this. And it gives you protected pulse wave for that. So overall, we're gonna talk about these changes. How do I feel about us just getting rid of push damage? I don't know. I mean, it was a nuanced thing that you could do as an experienced player to know when to push, when to not. Especially once I felt like pushing damage became less important when they put the dials on the back of the cards, because you knew what was going to happen or not happen. Whereas before, unless you had it memorized, there was a game element of surprise to it that I felt was worth having. But now that we don't have that, and it's just on the back of the cards, I think it's okay to get rid of it. I think it buffs a lot of characters. I feel bad for all the Indomitable characters that don't get the boost willpower did, but they're really not losing anything from this. They still don't take the push damage, which is perfectly fine. As far as rolling 5d6 rolls at the beginning of the turn or something like that, I mean, I don't think there's that many characters with Indomitable, but okay. We'll pretend that was a real problem, but I don't think it would have been. And then as far as the giant size, I do like the giant size where you can remove a token from yourself on a 4 through 6. I think that's good. I think you're going to see like Captain America's probably with leadership and willpower. Probably a special that gives him like some kind of defense that's a reducer or ESD and willpower, and then he'll have leadership. That's going to be off the chains. I think that's going to be a cool change. Masters of Evil kind of got hosed here a little bit. I see what they're doing. It's kind of like a up close PD team ability. I think PD. I don't know where it's if you can draw a line of fire, they get -1 to their defense. It's kind of like that. I don't know. I feel like Masters of Evil generally act on their own, and this is a team ability that requires a team effort. I don't know. I almost would have rather had like Underworld or something like that just basically be this. But, it is what it is. I think overall that these are good changes. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying desperately to streamline it. I don't know that Great Size really got that much streamlined. But they're trying to get rid of the pushing damage, so it was less about streamlining and more about consistency on that one. And as far as the pushing damage goes, not taking pushing damage that hurts some figures, kind of like like your Immortal Hulk. You can't get off that first click, so it's like, well, I'm just going to ignore him then. Stuff like that. But I think overall it's going to help a lot more figures. And I don't know how many people like really felt bad about that, but I do understand what they're saying about that. That's a pretty advanced move to know for a lot of players. It's like, okay, well, if I move this guy over here and then next turn I can push, and then when I push to be adjacent, for example, I'm going to have poison, so I can poison the next turn, whereas before you couldn't really do anything. That's a pretty advanced move. I don't know how many people really felt bad about stuff like that happening, but I can see where they're getting at with this. They're trying to streamline a little bit so that new players find it more accessible. So you're not ever hurting your own character with action tokens at this point, which, I mean, that is a little bit easier to think of. So make sure to check out the other post that's going to go up today. It's going to be about powers and abilities and stuff like that. I'll try to have it in the the pinned comment. I'm going to have to be Johnny on the spot for that stuff, but it'll be up today, the same day this was uploaded also. But you guys let me know what you think of these changes in the comments below. I always enjoy reading that stuff. That's all I have for you guys in this video. Make sure to like this video, comment on it, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Check me out on Patreon at patreon.com/MrClicksFlix. Every little bit helps the channel grow. That's all I have for you in this video. Till next time, it's only critical miss if you don't have probability control.